As the rugby world turns its attention toward one of the sport's greatest rivalries, anticipation continues to build for the upcoming Test series between the All Blacks and the Springboks. With 4 massive tests scheduled in South Africa next month, the stakes could hardly be higher. For Dave Rennie, this tour represents much more than another international challenge. It is an opportunity to prove that the progress shown by New Zealand during the recent Nations Championship is real and sustainable. With the 2027 Rugby World Cup slowly coming into focus, every performance matters and every tactical decision will be carefully examined. Adding even more intrigue to the conversation is the opinion of legendary former All Blacks coach Sir Steve Hansen, whose remarkable coaching career included guiding New Zealand to Rugby World Cup glory in 2015. Speaking on the Rugby Unity podcast alongside former Wallabies coach Ewan McKenzie, Hansen shared an interesting perspective on how New Zealand could challenge one of South Africa's greatest strengths. Rather than simply trying to match the Springboks at their own game, he believes the All Blacks should reshape the way they approach one of rugby's most important battles, the aerial contest. According to Hansen, defeating South Africa is not only about physical strength. It is about refusing to let the world champions dictate the areas where they are traditionally most dominant. The Springboks have built a reputation for their powerful set piece, disciplined kicking strategy, and outstanding ability under the high ball. Their tactical kicking consistently creates pressure, forcing opponents into difficult situations where even a small mistake can quickly become a scoring opportunity. For years, this has been one of the foundations of South Africa's success. Hansen explained that every great team expects to impose its strengths on the opposition, but when those strengths are removed or limited, uncertainty can begin to appear. In his view, if New Zealand can deny South Africa the opportunities they usually rely on, the balance of the contest could shift in unexpected ways. He believes rugby is often won by forcing opponents to play a style they are less comfortable with rather than allowing them to settle into familiar patterns. That philosophy has shaped many successful All Blacks teams over the years, and now he believes it could once again become a key ingredient. One area Hansen highlighted was the physical battle through contact. He suggested that ball carriers should avoid allowing the Springboks to dominate collisions. Instead of running directly into heavy defenders, players can use intelligent footwork before contact to reduce the impact of tackles and create cleaner opportunities at the breakdown. Small adjustments like these may appear simple, but over the course of 80 minutes they can reduce defensive pressure and prevent South Africa from building the momentum they enjoy. Equally important, according to Hansen, is maintaining excellent breakdown work. Winning possession quickly and efficiently can disrupt defensive systems before they become fully organized. However, perhaps the most fascinating part of his discussion focused on the contest under the high ball. Rugby supporters know that South Africa's kicking game is not simply about distance or territory. Their chase is incredibly well organized, with players arriving quickly to challenge receivers in the air. Even when they do not catch the ball themselves, they frequently create enough pressure to force handling mistakes or awkward recoveries. Hansen believes New Zealand should rethink how they respond to these situations. Rather than allowing the South African chaser to dominate the aerial contest while one All Blacks player waits underneath the ball, he suggested a different approach where the defending player also actively competes for the catch instead of remaining a passive receiver. In his explanation, both players running toward the dropping ball should have an equal opportunity to win possession. By changing that mindset, New Zealand could potentially reduce the disruptive influence of South Africa's kick chase and make the contest more balanced. Hansen pointed out that the objective is not to interfere illegally or block opponents, but simply to compete more aggressively within the laws of the game. If the ball cannot be caught cleanly, having support position nearby increases the chance of retaining possession while reducing opportunities for South Africa to capitalize on loose balls. It is an example of creative thinking rather than relying solely on conventional methods. The discussion also highlighted how rugby continues to evolve through law changes and tactical innovation. In recent seasons, adjustments to World Rugby's interpretation of escorting players have changed how teams defend kicks. Under previous coaching setups, the All Blacks occasionally struggled to adapt consistently in this area, making the aerial contest an important point of analysis. Although New Zealand showed encouraging improvement during the Nations Championship, they were not tested as thoroughly under the high ball as they are expected to be against the Springboks. That makes the upcoming series a significant examination of both tactical preparation and execution. Hansen also reflected on a broader philosophy that helped define some of New Zealand's greatest teams. Throughout his coaching career, the All Blacks became known not only for skill and athleticism but also for innovation. They consistently searched for new solutions instead of accepting traditional approaches as the only option. According to Hansen, facing South Africa requires exactly that kind of mindset once again. He believes the Springboks thrive when matches develop into predictable contests centered on physical dominance. Their structured approach allows them to gradually wear opponents down before increasing tempo later in the game as fatigue sets in. If opponents simply accept that rhythm, South Africa often becomes increasingly difficult to stop. However, by introducing unexpected tactical adjustments, New Zealand could interrupt that familiar flow. Hansen emphasized that forcing opponents into unfamiliar situations can create valuable moments of hesitation. Elite teams prepare extensively for expected scenarios, but unexpected challenges require quick adaptation under pressure. That does not guarantee success, yet it can influence momentum and decision-making during critical stages of a match. For Dave Rennie, these ideas provide an interesting perspective rather than a fixed blueprint. Every coaching staff develops its own strategies based on player strengths, opposition analysis, and current form. Rennie has already guided the All Blacks through a promising period of development, with improved attacking structure and encouraging performances giving supporters renewed confidence. Still, everyone understands that South Africa represents an entirely different level of examination. The intensity of playing away from home against the reigning world champions creates one of the toughest environments in international rugby. Every kick, tackle, line-out, and scrum can shape the outcome of closely contested matches. Players will need discipline, composure, and accuracy across every aspect of the game. Beyond tactics, the series also carries significant psychological importance. Both nations possess proud rugby traditions and enormous expectations from supporters around the world. Every meeting between these two teams adds another chapter to a rivalry built over generations. The outcome of this tour could influence confidence, rankings, and momentum heading toward future international competitions. While predictions will continue throughout the coming weeks, the reality is that success will ultimately depend on execution under pressure rather than ideas alone. Nevertheless, insights from experienced figures like Sir Steve Hansen always attract attention because they are shaped by decades of elite coaching and first-hand experience against the very best teams in world rugby. Whether or not the All Blacks choose to adopt similar approaches remains to be seen, but the conversation itself reflects the constant evolution of modern rugby. Coaches are always searching for small advantages that can make a meaningful difference when two world-class teams meet. As kickoff approaches, supporters from both New Zealand and South Africa will eagerly watch to see how these tactical battles unfold on the field. Will the Springboks once again impose their powerful aerial game and physical dominance, or will the All Blacks discover innovative ways to challenge those strengths? The answers will come only when the whistle blows, but one thing is already certain. Rugby fans are set to witness another fascinating chapter in one of the sport's greatest rivalries, where preparation, strategy, discipline, and adaptability will all play vital roles in determining which team takes an important step forward on the road toward the future. As the rugby world turns its attention toward one of the sport's